Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about blood tests. I'm going to go all the way from ordering one online, how to get your blood drawn, and then how to analyze the results and make changes to your lifestyle if necessary. So first of all, let's talk about why you would want to do this. If you have any care about your health and fitness or strength level, then you should probably get a blood panel at least once a year. If you're on performance enhancing drugs, then it should be at least every 6 months or potentially every 3 months. That's because your hormones are going to be up and down, and you'll want to monitor those levels to make sure you're healthy and that nothing goes too far out of range. And it could literally save your life if it gives you an early warning sign that something's wrong. So let's get to it, how to actually order a blood test. So I use Medichecks and I'm in the UK. This process is going to be the same pretty much whoever you use and wherever you live, but we're just going to use this one as an example. So if you come over to their website here, you're going to have various ways to find a blood test. They have a little quiz that you can do, or if you know roughly what you want already, you can just search for it. So I'm going to go into the men's section. Prices range from around £35 all the way up to £200 for a test that's going to show you 53 biomarkers. So when you look through the tests, you should be able to click this biomarkers button and see all of the data points that you're going to get when you have that test. And once you've decided on one that you like the look of, if you order it, you then have 3 options. First option is to choose a clinic to draw your blood. This is what I normally do. So you'll pay through the website for a visit to a clinic, you'll call the clinic, book in your blood test, and they'll draw your blood for you. The second option is to have someone come to your house and do it. That means you don't even need to leave the home. However, in my experience, that can be a little bit slow. I've only used that service once. Third option is to do it yourself. So the expectation here is that you would find a clinic, ring them, and get them to draw your blood. However, you could literally do it yourself because the package will contain everything you need. I wouldn't recommend that unless you have a friend that's a nurse and can draw that blood for you. So once you've ordered, you'll have your blood test through the post. It's a little package here. We're going to open it and show you what's inside. You'll have this customer compartment that you're supposed to open, and then you'll also have this medical professional only compartment, which is where all the equipment is. If you open up your customer compartment, you'll find a little form that you can pass to the clinic, which tells them that your blood test is already paid for if you've chosen that option. Now, you're not supposed to open the medical part. The people that draw your blood will do that. However, we're going to do it just so you can see what's inside. So what you'll see in here is equipment for drawing the blood and some paperwork. First thing here is just a tracked label that's going to go on the package at the end once your blood is drawn. That's what you're going to use to post it off to them for free. And then there's going to be the equipment here to actually draw your blood. So for me, there's 2 vials in this kit. The number of vials of blood you have to have drawn will depend on which test you've purchased and how many biomarkers there are. Now, like I said, you won't actually open that part of the kit. When you go to get your blood drawn, they will open it, use all the labels. They normally won't use the equipment in there for taking your blood because they have better stuff at the hospital that they use on a daily basis. So the next step is to actually call the clinic and book a time for my blood to be drawn. If you're having any hormones measured, then you want to arrange your time to be as early as possible in the morning. Your testosterone will diminish throughout the day, so if you have a test done later in the day, then your results will be less accurate and you'll think that you have low testosterone when it might not actually be the case. You'll also want to make sure that you're completely hydrated for the few days before the blood test, and just don't eat too much crappy food before you have it done, because that could also skew your results.
Phlebotomy, can I help?
Hiya, I've got a private blood test here from Medichecks. I was hoping I could book in to have the blood drawn.
Well, I've got a 9 o'clock that was actually a cancellation for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
That is all booked in.
Easy as that. Blood test booked for tomorrow, so we'll go and have it drawn tomorrow. Okay, once the blood is taken, the nurse will just package it up like this. You don't have to do anything other than go and put it in a post box. And then it's just a case of waiting for your results. While you're waiting, you can go on the website and fill in a little form about why you've taken the blood test. This will really help the doctor that's going to come back with a load of detailed responses. So for example, if you're on PEDs, you'd want to write your whole cycle here. If you've come off them, you'd want to write that. You just want to write pretty much anything here that could impact your results so that the doctor that's analysing this knows what's going on and can give you some better recommendations. So for me here, I've just ticked that I want a general health check, optimise my sport and performance and my lifestyle, not currently on TRT or any PEDs. I've filled in the time I've taken my sample, and that's it. And then it's just a case of waiting for my results. The results are in, so let's take a look together and see how I'm doing. Quick heads up here, I'm not sponsored by Medicheck. I don't have a referral link. So if you want to help me out, click a few buttons down there, leave a comment if this helped, even if it's just for the algorithm, and that will help me to keep creating these videos for you. So first of all, you'll have a big write-up here from the doctor. This is great. He's just telling me here that the majority of my results are completely normal. However, there's a few points. Raised hematocrit, this is common in people who exercise regularly. That's always a case for me, so that's quite normal for me. Red blood cells appear enlarged. This is deficiencies in B vitamins. So if you saw my last video, you'll know that I haven't actually trained for around 10 weeks after being pretty competitive in powerlifting. So that was a big break for me. During that break, I also didn't take any supplements. Previously, I was taking supplements, including B vitamins. So that drop off in now not taking those B vitamins may have caused that. So that's definitely something I need to add back into my routine now is taking the supplements again. kidney filtration rate falls into the lower end. This is common in having high muscle mass. So this test is again a common one for me. I have high muscle mass for my height. I'm only 5'6". So there's actually something called a Cockcroft-Gault equation. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's a kind of like a calculator that you can use to put in your height, your body fat percentage, and your kidney results from this blood test, and it will tell you if you're actually normal for your muscle mass. And in my case, I'm always normal on that indicator. So that's again not a cause for concern. This is why it's important to explain to the doctor why you're getting your test. So I said that I compete in powerlifting, so he probably knows that I have high muscle mass, and therefore this result you don't really need to worry about. The calculation is based on the average body surface area of the general population. So yeah, this write-up's really going to help you in understanding your results. So this came up in another blood test I had, a raised cholesterol level, and then I started taking my omega-3s and so on, and that actually lowered it back to normal. Again, in those 10 weeks, I haven't taken my omegas, which are right here on my desk. So I should probably take these. A lot of omegas are not very good. You need to look for high EPA and DHA levels. Most omega-3s won't have good enough levels in. The ones I've purchased, I've made sure those levels are pretty good. I'll link this stuff in the description if anyone's interested in getting them. They're not expensive, but they seem to be good quality on paper. So those are the ones I'll be using. So I need to start taking those again probably. Okay, so if you scroll down here, you're gonna see your results in detail with all of the markers. So anything in the red means you're not in the reference range. Not necessarily a cause for concern, but let's have a look through these. So you can actually click into any of these markers and see more detail as well. So I could look on my hemoglobin, and I'll have a tracker here from any of my previous blood tests. So you'll see these dots here is where I've had blood tests before. And if you click learn more, it's going to tell you what that marker is, what a low result will mean, what a high result will mean. And sometimes these write-ups can give you really good tips on how to correct your imbalances. So the only ones read for me are hematocrit and MCV. So my hematocrit here measures the amount of space in my blood that's taken up by red blood cells. That's probably a little bit related to this MCV, which is basically the blood cell volume. Now, if you look at this tracker here, all of my last blood tests I've been in the reference range, but this last one it's gone up. And what this is basically the average size of my red blood cells. Now, the only thing I've changed since my last blood test is adding much more cardio into my training. So the last few weeks I've been running for about 40 minutes after each session, just because I'm having a break from powerlifting. Potentially that's increased the size of my red blood cells. I'm not sure. After a Google, it seems that is quite common to happen. Who knows? We'll check that on the next blood test I get in 6 months' time or whatever it is, and hopefully we can bring that down in line. White blood cells here, completely normal, so happy with my immune system. Clotting status here, normal. Now this one can be a bit misleading if you train hard. If you have a lot of muscle mass, you're probably always going to have high creatinine levels. As you can see, mine are always generally high. I had one just dip into the normal range on my last blood test, and the creatinine is used to calculate your eGFR. You can see mine's only just in the reference range here, and it has been in the red before. Basically, this is a mark of your kidney health, and as I said earlier, you want to use a Cockcroft-Gault equation to actually calculate it properly. So let's really quickly do that. Male, 33, 80 kilograms weight. My creatinine, so I can come back to my blood test, is 123, and my height is 169 centimeters. And then I can see here that my clearance is 85 based on my metrics there. That puts me in this little box here in the green, mildly decreased kidney function, but still fine. This doesn't seem to take into account my muscle mass, so taking that into account, probably okay. If you train hard, don't worry if that's a little bit elevated. Okay, liver health here, completely fine. Proteins, all fine other than SHBG. I don't know if this is a genetic thing, but on all of my blood tests, my SHBG has been low. This is basically a protein that binds to testosterone and makes it unusable. So having a low SHBG increases your free testosterone, which means you have more available. So I'm not going to complain about that. No risk on diabetes there. Cholesterol status. Now this one, I don't always do the best in. I eat a lot of meat, could be a diet thing. My ratio, however, here 3.55 is in the normal range. I think that's the ratio of good cholesterol to bad cholesterol. And like I said, last time I had a blood test, I did get these in the green by making sure I take my omega-3s. So I'm gonna get back on those, make sure I'm taking those twice a day, hopefully bring that all back in line for when I train properly again. Iron status. Now this is a very strange result for me. So my iron has actually increased a load. If you can see these past results, I was always in a good middle of the range. The only thing I can think of is that when you train hard, you will deplete your iron stores. And because I haven't trained hard for those 10 weeks that I had off, I haven't been depleting those stores. Still eating a lot of meat, but that could be why the level is raised. Hopefully when I start training hard again, that level will drop. We'll see. Thyroid, fine, nothing to worry about. Now the one you're all probably interested in, this hormones result here. So completely normal on everything other than prolactin, which is very strange. Not on any PEDs right now, just to be completely upfront. So pretty happy to see everything in the normal range, other than this prolactin, which is a little strange for me because you can see on my previous blood tests, we've always been mostly normal. Last result I had was slightly elevated, and now it's gone up even more. So that is a little concerning. I don't know why that would be. Your prolactin level normally would increase if you take like Deca or Trenbolone, stuff like that. I've never taken either of those two compounds, so I don't know why it's higher. But on this learn more thing, it says that a high result could be caused by a cyst on your pituitary gland. That could be the case. So that could be something that I might want to see a GP about, just to check if there is a cyst on my pituitary gland. If that's the case, whether that goes down by itself or you need a surgery to remove it. But I feel fine, so I'm not too worried about it. And in the doctor's write-up, he said, yes, it's elevated, but it's not at the level yet where you would need to worry. I'm going to definitely keep an eye on this one in future blood tests. I know that there's also other drugs that you take. I know that people on tren will often take cabergoline to reduce their prolactin. So that's potentially something that I could be prescribed if that level is high. Who knows, we'll keep an eye on it. And the final one, prostate, probably nobody cares, but in the normal range. I'm all for transparency, so if you have any questions, you can just ask me down in the comments. I'll be happy to respond. And the final thing I'll say is, if you care about your health, just go and get this done. You might feel fine, and then one day something goes wrong. Hopefully this video helps out to keep you healthy, keep you strong, and keep you training. So I would advise you go get one of these done if you've never done it before. It's an easy process, it's painless. So that is it. If you want any more how-to videos, let me know and I'll add them to my list of videos to create. See you next time.